Wouldn't it be awful? Wouldn't it be awful to be heading into a new year with a mixed up belief system? Oh, it's going to be an awful year. Wouldn't that be awful? But thank God we can stand here today knowing that God is on our side and we are in His side. It's no telling what He can do. So we believe it's going to be a great year because of Him. So thank God for that. Hey, before we dismiss the children today, I want to continue the review of 2012. Many of you found a little bit closer connection. You found a way to serve in the church, whether it was singing, behind the camera, reading, whatever it might have been. That's awesome. This year's VBS. Stephanie, you did a great job with your team. Cheryl and I basically showed up the day it started and tried to do what we could to help. So, another amazing VBS program. Faithful Sunday morning teachers upstairs. We started the nursery again, got that reopened. And so, lots of great things there. Benson family, I'll never forget talking to you guys about, hey, we're thinking about going on a mission trip, not sure about the money. And we said, hey, you take the step, God will provide. And man, did He provide. Yeah. Did He provide. And then I also remember, Jamie, the great frustration we had as we came back and she was dying to share her trip. Remember that? And for about 18 Sundays in a row, nothing was, the computer wouldn't work, we couldn't get the pictures up. But I'll never forget the day that it worked. We all left here saying, that was God's perfect timing. And so we wanted to say this. Jamie and David sent out letters and got most, if not all, their funds. We were able to contribute a little bit because we definitely wanted to be a part of your first mission trip. And so I remember your mission trip. Tank, I remember you got your first opportunity to play in front of the crowd. Christmas Eve. Yes. Don't forget that. And that all leads to this. David Benson, I don't know for how many years now, I quit counting. The nursing home liked it when we came by once a month. And I did it for some time, and they acted like they liked it, but I just got tired. I got tired. We did Sunday mornings, Sunday night youth, and I was getting tired. And so I asked David if he would mind representing Lighthouse Community Church at the nursing home. And not only has he been faithful to do it on his turn, there have been a few occasions when they needed someone, again, because someone couldn't be there, and David stepped up there. And so as we were contemplating our trip to Florida and who would speak this Sunday, I said, you know what? Mr. Faithful deserves a shot at that. And so, David, we were praying for you. And he didn't hesitate when I asked him. He's like, absolutely, I already think I know what I'm going to talk about. I wish I would get that sometimes. Okay? But those of you who were here, when we started getting the reports back of what an amazing job David did and how God helped him, I'll be honest with you. I tell you, I don't look at Facebook too much. I did not want to see, boo, Pastor Mike, we want Dave, we want Dave. I didn't want to see all that, so I didn't look at it. So David, sincerely, honestly, thank you for obeying the Lord, praying about what you should speak, asking Him to help you to share, and the response that God poured through you to our people was unbelievable. So even if you weren't here last week and you didn't get to hear that, hey, let's thank David for his faithfulness, not only for last Sunday, but as he represents us once a month at the nursery and so many other times. But David, thank you for last week. The only text I got last week that I was really concerned about, and it was the only one that mattered, really. As soon as the service over, I don't know if you were finished speaking yet, I got a text from your wife. That was awesome! He did great! He was unbelievable! So your wife's behind you there. She thought you did a great job, and that's what happened. So thank you. All right, children. I don't know who the teacher is today. Steph, there we just talked about Steph, and there it's her turn again. So guys have a great time up there. The rest of us who are here, as they're leaving, please turn in your Bibles to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Now, It's been a while since we gave away something in church, and so I thought I'd do a little trivia today, and I'll give a few clues, and if you think you know the answer after one clue, raise your hand, and I'll give you a chance to answer, and if you're correct, I have a little prize for you today, okay? And so I'll give a clue. If you think you know the answer to what I'm referring to, slip up your hand, and I'll try. I'll do my best to see who was first, and if you're correct, I have a little prize for you. Now, if I can find my clues. Uh-oh, I don't have my clues. Here they are. Ready? Listen carefully to the clues. May 29, 1953. Anybody know why that date's important? May 29, 1953.
First Memorial Day?
Good guess, honey.
Wrong.
But it was a very good guess.
May 29, 53. That was 10 years before I was born.
Thank you for not saying it. Your birthday? Thank you for not saying that. I wasn't born that soon. Okay. Did you say that, Mike? You thought that was my birthday?
Well, we were discussing.
It's discussing it as an option, right? As an option. Not the answer. Okay. 29,029. 29,029. That's your next clue. 29,029. You're all looking confused. That clue didn't help any.
Nothing.
Nothing blank. Okay. What? Say it again.
Steelers won the Super Bowl.
Steelers won the Super Bowl. Oh boy. I started to make a comment, but I'm going to. Matt, you got it?
First time somebody climbed Mount Everest.
Mount Everest is the answer. Is that amazing? The next clue was the Himalayas. Oh, did you cheat? Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, no. Wait. In his defense, in her defense, it's not cheating because I didn't say not to use your notes. But it's awful to be old. It's awful. I was at my house last night working on this, and I said, remember, tell the people you can't cheat. Don't Google. Tell the people don't Google. And I got here, I didn't tell the people to Google, and they Googled. I didn't say not to. So, here's the good news. I brought two, because I didn't have candy bars that would reach 29,029 feet. So I brought two mounds. Putting up mounds together, I guess they get up there, so that's the best. So it works out. I'll give you a researcher one. I started to say we usually don't applaud cheaters, but you didn't really cheat because I didn't tell you not to, so you can't say it. Mount Everest. Hey, I'll be giving a few facts over the next couple weeks about Mount Everest. There's some things I didn't know about that. Some good news and bad news about that. I'll be sharing a little bit about Mount Everest the next few weeks because when Mr. Hillary made the ascent, I can't give too many details because it will give away my next few weeks' things, but it was a first. It was a first. First person to climb the summit. And it's interesting. I didn't even, well, I guess I wrote the guy's name down, but did you know this? There was a guy named, I guess, I don't know how to pronounce it, Tenzing or something, I don't know how to pronounce it. But did you know there was actually two people that day? And they made that climb together. And so when the news first broke, it was that two people had ascended, but a couple of days later, this guy that we've never heard of went public and said, you know what? We went together, but that last 3 foot, he took it. And so he gets all the credit. And so I was just thinking, man, that guy that we've never heard of, 3 feet from immortality. Why didn't they just link arms and 1, 2, 3 jump? I don't know. So one, I thought it was kind of sad that guy made it that far. We don't know his name. Secondly, I don't know why he didn't have a better plan. I would have said, hey, let's do it together. But the point is this. Both those men climbed. And they suffered. And they sacrificed. And in the end, they both made it. But only one really gets credit. So, Mount Everest teaches us a lot of things about climbing. Since then, since those first 2 men accomplished that feat, thousands have made it. Thousands. For several $1,000s, you can call over there, or text or email, I guess. Find a guide, and they'll put you on a team, and they'll try to get you to the top.
Matt's going.
Matt's on his way. Yeah. It'll be our next fundraiser. We're getting Matt up the Mount Everest. The reason I brought Mount Everest up today is because it seemed like an impossible task. Many had tried, beginning in the early 1900s, many had tried, and finally 1, 2 succeeded, and since then thousands. Today, I want to read a portion of Scripture and hopefully inspire us to dream about the impossible. Let's read the Scripture, introduce what's going on, and then we'll talk about the impossible. Matthew chapter 5. I've read this Scripture probably every new year. This year's just a little different twist. Chapter 5, verse 1. Now when he, Jesus, saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside. And so, the only way to get up on a mountainside is to climb. And there he sat down. His disciples came to him. The inference there is to get to him, what did they have to do? Climb. And he began to teach them. Today's lesson is the beginning of a few weeks we'll spend together talking about climbing. It was interesting this morning as Cheryl and I listened to one of our favorite ministers on TV as we were getting ready. He read the top 10 New Year's resolutions. And in all the top 10 resolutions, not one of them had to do with faith. Lose weight, save money, eat better, whatever it might be, which are, I'm not saying those are bad, but none of them had to do with faith. This year, 2013, I'm not saying it's a resolution. I'm saying let's take a look and consider what could be. And as we consider what could be, let's also consider what it's going to take. And what it's going to take is climbing. And not just climbing, but climbing to where Jesus is. Climbing with him, where he leads us, where he takes us. Keeping up on the climb. In your notes, let's do the introduction so we can get through today's lesson. Number one, we see from Matthew chapter 5, number 1, Jesus was, and because he is the same today, yesterday, and forever, he is a climber. That, my friends, Mount Everest. He was a climber. That's important to know. But number 2 is just as important. Jesus invites us to climb. Thank you, Casey Joe. Aren't my lessons deep? Aren't they deep?
She probably Googled it.
Yeah, she Googled it, yeah. Yeah, Jesus invites us to climb. Here's the key. I put in your notes with him, but if you want to put above that to him, that's also important. The reason we're talking about climbing today in the next few weeks is this. Our spiritual journey as we climb with Christ and to Christ, it affects so much about us. And so just to mention a few, when we climb with Christ, it affects. Are you ready, Anna? It affects.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. It affects our attitude. The closer we get to Christ, the more our attitude should be more like him. Remember Philippians, Paul said, our attitude should be kind of like, similar to, almost like. Our attitude should be the same as Christ. And so as we climb, our attitude is affected. Not only is our attitude affected, our ability. Have you noticed that the closer we get to Christ, the more he refines our skills and he opens up opportunities and he gives us opportunities, and our ability is affected. And not only our ability, but our approach. When Jesus came on the scene, his approach to life just seemed so much different than those who he came to help. Remember, they were all about the law and the rules, and Jesus said it's not about the law and the rules, it's about loving people. And for most, it was about vengeance and keeping the record straight and justice. And for Jesus, it was about, again, loving people and mercy and not condemning people, but helping people get to it. His approach to life was so different. And the closer we get to him, our approach and how we see life is affected. Not only is our approach to life affected, but also our actions. And isn't that what it all boils down to? How we live our life. And the closer we climb to Christ and the more intimate we climb with him, hopefully our actions change. And we go from spending our lives on things that may be important but not the most important. And maybe we find a way to make contribution to God's kingdom. Our actions change. And as our actions change, hopefully then our accomplishments change as well. As we look back on 2012, I hope you're smiling, realizing all that you accomplished as an individual, as a family, as a church. And that's all affected by our desire, our ability to climb, and to keep up with where Christ leads us, to keep up with what he's doing. Climb. So did you get all those? We need to review any of those before we move on. My point today is very simple. Our climb affects everything, doesn't it? The closer we climb, the higher we climb, the more hopefully we change in a positive way. Climbing affects us. Now, that's the introduction. Today's lesson, to reach our potential, number 4, to reach our potential with Christ, we must climb on the path of commitment. Commitment. Today, we want to talk about commitment. Boy, there's so much that could be said about commitment, so much that is said about commitment. But today, I'm just going to focus on 2 or 3 points about commitment that I hope will challenge us to accept. Let's commit to the climb this year. Let's commit to finding where Jesus is and giving everything we have to get to where He is. Let's commit this year to where He leads me. I'm with Him. He's the vine, I'm the branch, and I'm sticking with Him wherever that may take me, whatever the cost might be. I'm climbing with Him. The climb. Here's the lesson. As Christians, we must commit to the following. Today, I'll talk about these 3 things, and I'll ask you in your hearts and minds to consider your commitment. I want to have a little bit of fun with this, and so I'll throw in a story here and there, and a scripture here and there. But in the end, it's a very serious decision that you'll be making today. Just like Mount Everest, I assume it's true and it makes sense to me, but this is kind of gross, so I don't mean to gross you out, but Cheryl's already doing this right now, honey, but it's an important fact. There are people who made it so high up the mountain and for whatever reason decided it's not worth going on. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going back down there. There are some, and I would suppose, I would like to see the list of names, because even though it's kind of a goofy thing in life to want to climb Mount Everest, but it's kind of noble that in their effort they desired it so much that people have actually died on Mount Everest. And the surprising thing to me is, this is kind of surprising to me, it wouldn't encourage me to go climb Mount Everest. They leave some of those bodies up there. They're just frozen in time right there. And as you're climbing Mount Everest, oh, that one didn't make it very far. And I don't know why that would inspire me. But my point today is this. Commitment is what will cause you to keep climbing. A New Year's resolution won't keep you climbing. Willpower will not keep you climbing. Commitment keeps us climbing. Here it goes, my little story about Florida. I don't know what it is about that place. Many great things happen. I got back from Florida and I started to tell a story, and someone said, "You didn't try to go fishing again, did you?" No. The waters are way too rough in the winter. I knew better. No fishing trips. But every year I go to Florida, and this time we went twice a year. Every time I don't even tell my family this, but I try to find something to do to pay back to the people who host us or one of my friends. I try to do something to just say thank you. In the past, my buddy Dave, his daughter Morgan was maybe 10 or 11. They had just moved into a new house, and bless her heart, she wanted her bedroom painted. Dave Duncan can't paint, and I can a little bit, and so I made it my goal. One morning when my children were sleeping, David got Morgan out of the house. We went, picked up the paint, and I painted Morgan's bedroom. Last summer, we stayed at Brandon's house, and his daughter wanted his dad to build a bed. And so he built her a special bed, and there it was in the middle of the garage, built. But it needed painting. And so one morning when everyone was sleeping, I got up and I painted the bed. I just tried to do something nice to say thank you. In the past, I've cleaned out the garage. Brandon says, man, my wife likes to park in the garage. We got so much stuff. And so I take sometimes several hours and put stuff away and stack it neatly, and she's able to park in the garage. And so this break, as we went down, I was wondering, what would I do to help the Catos? And when I showed up, we pulled up, they came out and hugged us, we walked through the garage, and there it was, a box. And I said, Brandon, what's in the box? And Brandon says, hey, in the box is Michelle's birthday present. Now what you have to know is her birthday was in November. So she got the box in November, and it's still in the box. So I said, well, what's in the box? A treadmill. That's it. We shall conquer. We will build the treadmill for your wife. That was the goal. But what's awesome is this, and I understand you talked about goals last week, and so the goal was build the treadmill. But what was awesome is, as we were there through the week, Brandon got a call. He has a construction company on the side, and one of his buddies called and said, listen, there's a guy out here, he's got a brand new, maybe been used twice, Gold's Gym. It's got a bench, you can do the weights, it's huge, and it's brand new, and it's Gold's Gym. It was impressive. What do you want me to do with it? He just wants to get rid of it, no charge. Brandon says, load it up and bring it to my house. We'll put it in the garage for the kids. And my goal expanded. Not only will we get the treadmill together, we're going to put the Gold's Gym together. And so, the goal was set. After 5 days of playing golf and eating like crazy people, it was our last day there, and nothing had been done. So I'm like, Brandon, we got to get this done. So the kids went off to shopping. Cheryl went to visit a close friend, and it was just me, Dave, and Brandon, the three amigos. We were going to conquer the treadmill, the garage, and Gold's Gym. It was awesome. Dave and Brandon carrying the treadmill. We take it out of the box. Brandon and I together work together as a wonderful team. Assemble the treadmill. Plug the treadmill in. I was the guinea pig. I got on the treadmill. It worked beautifully. Goal 1 accomplished. Treadmill complete. Awesome. Now, it's time for a break. Dave goes to Chick-fil-A, picks up all the sandwiches, brings back the sandwiches, we eat lunch, and now it's time to tackle the garage. We head to the garage. We start moving coolers and moving old beds that have been replaced by new beds, and moving tools, and pretty soon we could see the floor. It was awesome. We were making headway. We moved grills, we threw away old golf bags, and now we're almost done. And I say, Brandon, based on my past experience cleaning your garage, doesn't that shop vac go on the refrigerator? He has a refrigerator in his garage, and he goes, you're right, it does. But we looked up on the refrigerator, and there were 2 orange coolers. That's not where they were supposed to be. All we had to do was walk over, and there was lounge chair covers, cushions, on the cooler and over onto the shelf. So I want to draw a picture of you for you. The refrigerator is this tall, okay? Now, it's literally this tall. And the shelf beside it is this tall. So my job, hold up the cushion so that Dave can get the 2 coolers out, walk over here, and put them on the shelf so there's room for the shop vac. Sounds easy. I walk over, I'm doing my job, I'm holding up the cushion. Dave takes out 1 cooler, takes out the 2nd cooler. Now he walks over here, and Brandon now has to hold up the cushion so that we can get the orange coolers under the cushion. When Brandon lifts up the cushion, in a split second we hear this. Ping, ping. And here I am standing, holding the cushions. And when Brandon lifted up his cushions, none of us saw it. The shelves were over our head. What are the odds? There are 2 3-foot metal poles on the cushions. 2 of them. 1 inch by 1 inch by 3 foot long, they're hollow with 1/8 inch lips around there. Listen, it's unbelievable. What are the odds that in a 2-car garage that Brandon over here could lift the thing, the poles could fall, and not only fall this way, but one of them had the amazing ability to turn this way. And like a heat-seeking missile, it's impossible. What are the odds that a pipe 6 or 7 foot above on a rack, on a shelf, could fall and find? Listen, how big is your big toe? It doesn't even matter how big your big toe is. My big toe is this big. It's not big at all. What are the odds that a pipe could fall 6 feet and somehow find my big toe? I don't know what the odds are, but it happened. Now, to make the story better, it's South Florida. It's 80 degrees. You think for a minute I've got shoes on? No shoes. And remember this time last year what was going on in my life? Remember ingrown toenails? No problem. Pull them. You don't need those. I don't have toenails on my big toes. Now, this is what's awesome. The pole falls, finds my toe. So, here I go. Ooh! Ah! My toe! Ah! And I'm not screaming, I'm not cursing, I'm just like, what are the odds? My toe! It always finds my toe! And from the corner of the garage, my 2 best friends who love me dearly, Dave Duncan, not how you doing, you okay? Mike! Stop! Stand still! You're bleeding everywhere! Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave. So now I hobble over and I find the cooler. Not a cooler, it's a toolbox for the back of your pickup. So I sit down. This was the best moment of the whole trip. My friend Brandon, who hosts us and houses us, we're sitting there. I can't even look down because I just lost my toe. Here's Brandon. And you can laugh if you want to because it's Brandon. He loves you and you've met Brandon. I'm sitting there. Oh, my toe. And here's Brandon. You know, I've been looking for those poles. It was part of his tree stand. And he couldn't find the poles from his tree stand. So I said, oh, thank God we found the poles. Yeah. So turns out, to make a long story short, turns out I got about a 1/2 inch gash long, about 1/2 inch gash deep through my toe. I'll stop now, honey. But here's the point of the whole story. This was my proudest moment, Jeremy. I'm sitting there, and it's not I won't say it anymore, honey. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. And it hurts, and it's painful, and it's ugly. And the boys are saying, Mike, we got to get you to the doctor, man. We got to. And I said, no. Find me a paper towel. Find me a Band-Aid. We're not finished yet. And you know what my 2 friends who love me said back to me? Okay. So they went and got me some gauze, the best they could find. We put it on there. We found some kind of tape, put it on there, and finished the job. Do you know why we finished the job? It didn't matter that my toe hurt. It didn't matter in my mind. I'm wondering if I even have a big toe anymore. The only thing that mattered was this. When I walked in the garage that first day on vacation, I made a commitment. I'm not leaving till it's done.
And it looked great.
And it looked great. You can clap now. But please just don't step on my toe when you leave today. Okay? Now, I tell all that story to say this. You always like to know when something good happens to your pastor, and that time I wasn't even being stupid. Remember, this summer, that was just stupid. Climb on the bed, reach out over there, step. That was just stupid. I deserve that. But I don't know if I deserve that. I don't know if I deserve that. So anyway, I'm talking about commitment. I tell you that story because commitment matters. It's what matters. So what do we need to be committed to as Christians? Anna, get ready here. As Christians, we must commit to B-E. That's your first blank under be committed to. Matthew 5, 3 through 12, all about the B attitudes. If you're wondering what a Christian's life should look like, and now I'm talking about the impossible. Now I'm talking about, can we really pull this off? Can this really be done? Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the persecuted. We must be committed